Pixel.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grunting Podcast. I am the Faceless Pixel, otherwise known as the Grunting Pixel, and with me, I have Jared.
Hello!
And Stephanie.
Hi.
And no Alex. Forever. So that's
dead.
something we should talk about. Alex is gone, pretty much for good.
He left his
Until schedule
vessel of a
changes at
body.
work.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, Al will unfortunately no longer be part of the podcast. His schedule changed, and the only day that all of us had free, he now no longer has free. So he will not only not be in the podcast anymore, but I also imagine a significant decrease in the D&D sessions that he's in. Oh my God, we're such nerds.
Yeah, but you don't broadcast those, so nobody really cares that's listening to this about those.
No, but see, the thing is that was a plug for you, Jared.
Oh,
Oh, look at that.
See?
Giving you a
at
plug.
the other Jared. Real quick.
Anyways.
Anyways.
So this will be the crew for now. Hopefully Al's schedule won't stay fucked for too long, but, you know, what can you do? We all have lives, and this is a side project. Until we can all quit our day jobs and do this for good, this is kind of the way things go. So, with that being said, I figure we'll get right into it, considering that we're very late today, so this might be short. But it actually sucks that we're going to be short this week, because this week probably has some of the most crazy news of probably the past, since Christmas. So there's a lot to talk about.
Really?
So we'll probably just have to. Really?
Can't wait to hear it.
What news?
I guess you guys don't know. So we'll probably have to kind of rapid fire through this stuff. We'll start with most relevant. First off, Uncharted 4's out. Me and Jared been playing it. Steph hasn't because she's a fucking plebeian.
I'm poor.
How dare
But
you. How dare you.
I figured, it's a pretty high level game. You know, a lot of people talking about it. Figured we'd go kind of give our initial impressions. I am stammering like crazy.
I don't know. I've also Dark Souls 3. It's been a while since we've done a podcast. Dark Souls 3 is probably relevant too.
Yeah, we could talk about that too. And there's one
There's
other
stuff we're
thing.
talking about.
Here, we'll give a forecast. We're gonna be talking about Uncharted. We're gonna be talking about Dark Souls 3, and then we're gonna be talking about good old Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1, because the internet is on fucking fire right now because of those two titles. So there's a lot to talk about there. Specifically for me, I think Jared will probably just be off in Assassin's Creed world while we have that conversation. But maybe we can get maybe we can get a little bit of outsider input from him on that. But first thing, Uncharted, Jared, you've been playing it. Thoughts?
Yeah. Worst game I've ever played in my life. No, I'm just kidding.
Completely agree. Completely agree. It looks
fantastic.
like shit, dude.
For
I think
me,
Mario 1 looks better than this game.
well, Mario 1
Mario
is
1.
by far the best graphics game I've ever seen in my life.
I'm sorry, but 8 bits?
and, yeah,
that's
that's-
amazing.
And that's saying nothing. So
Why would you need volumetric lighting and global illumination when you could have 8-bit color?
you know what?
Minimalistic
All
is the
those
way to go.
shadows and all that's and pixels just get in the way.
It really does.
Yeah. So, anyways, lies aside,
Complete and total fallacies aside.
I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I
That's
did that.
normal.
I did that. That was me.
Yeah, Uncharted 4 is phenomenal game. I'm loving it. Now, our opinions, we agree that it's a phenomenal game, but I think for different reasons or varying reasons. One of the things that fascinated about me is the intensity of the game. Like, 1 minute you're sneaking around, and the next minute you're dodging bullets and you're jumping off cliffs. And I mean, your character's gonna make the jump, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's intense and exciting, and and so it's an Uncharted game. I don't really need to explain anymore. It's intense and it's fun and it's exciting, and yeah. I mean, what else can I say?
This is the least game aspect of a game, so I understand that it's like, nobody should buy a game just for this reason, but Uncharted 4 is a technical masterpiece. That game looks freaking sane. And the amount of, I mean, I kind of made a joke about like global illumination and shit like that, you know, in that joke thing there. But there are some actual like lingo that I could go into that this game is doing, like just technological feats that it's performing and pulling off constantly. That
Parallax
like is
the wazoo.
I was playing it today.
Absolutely insane.
There's a point
it's
where
gorgeous.
he's looking at a piece of paper and you see his hand, and you flip the piece of paper over and you see his hand. Like, just the detail on the hand was like, I just kept flipping the paper. I was like, damn.
Have you noticed that the piece of paper actually folds and deforms as you wave it in the air? Like it has wind resistance and shit?
Yeah.
No, it's incredible. Like they have full subsurface all through everything, hair, face, all that stuff, the Fresnel effects they have. There is literally a bottle of wine, or no, it wasn't wine. It was a bottle of liquor during one of the cutscenes, and the liquor was literally reflecting light the way it would, where everything was in reverse through the bottle because of all the different things that, you know, all the different ways that light bends through liquid and glass. Like, I mean, just the amount of detail in that game
really good for
is insane.
To detail.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. The animation's amazing. The graphics are amazing. Like, visually, that game is literally a masterpiece. 10 out of 10.
It's phenomenal. Like, a really cool thing that we've noticed the other day was that the shadows in the water, how they kind of reflect that kind of how it's different depending on like the depth of the water.
Well, yeah, what it is when there's murky water, you know, shadow and light information is going to hit the different particles as it goes depthy. So it almost makes like a reverse God ray through the water, which is, again, those are just little details that cost a lot in terms of performance that they focus on in Uncharted. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. Now, it's not perfect. I've had a couple times I'm like, oh, that was a little faceted, or hey, look, an LOD popped in really close, or why is this shadow resolution way lower in this particular area for some reason? And it does have the occasional frame rate drop. But I mean, we're talking like grains of sand nitpicks in terms of a huge sandbox of fucking awesome.
I didn't notice any of that shit. I just
that's because you're not a nerd.
I'm not a nerd. Well,
I went to school for that shit, so like...
But there are times in the game where I've stopped and I've just looked off. There's a point where you're like running from the enemies, and I just stopped at this point and I looked out onto the sea. There's like all these boats and stuff, and I'm just sitting there. I'm getting shot at, but I'm just like,
this is worth the death.
This is gorgeous.
This is worth the death.
Yeah, and the game is, but yeah, it's very gorgeous.
It's insane.
That.
I'm still very.
I just wish his hair would get messed up. His hair stays perfect.
God, it does, and it looks
super
perfect.
gel in that shit.
I'm still pretty early. I don't know how long the game is, but I still feel like I'm probably in the first act of the game, so it's really hard to review. So I'm not going to review. But what I will say is the level of perfection in the visuals does not fully carry over to gameplay. I have noticed some kind of wonky things in gameplay that's, again, little nitpick things. It's not like, oh, the game's a 4 out of 10 because I didn't make a jump one time. Like, it's not anything like that. But I do notice myself going like, oh, what the fuck? Come, jump to the ledge, Nathan. Jump. Grab the ledge. Grab it. Are you gonna? You're not. Oh, you're not gonna do it? Okay, great. I'll just stand here for 5 minutes.
And then you realize you're supposed to hit B and go down and around, and you're like, oh.
Like little things, like I get stuck on geometry. One of the things that I don't actually like, in terms of just being like a game, is there'll be a lot of times where control is just taken away from the player. Like, I feel like you cannot play that game for more than 3 minutes without the game taking control away from you at some point, which is kind of. It's a little gripe. It's a little annoying. Like, I'll literally be like walking down a hallway, and then Nathan will stop and he'll hold onto a pillar and he'll look around at the camera, and then a cutscene will play, and then I'm back in control. I'm like, I walked 10 feet to do that. Like if you're gonna make this a cutscene, then just do that as a cutscene. Don't make me keep giving up control constantly of the character.
Yeah, that didn't bother me as much, but I don't mind cutscenes and stuff like that as much.
I don't mind them when they're...
I have different reasons, so...
Yeah, I don't mind them because they're great at progressing a story, but can I please just play the game for more than 4 minutes at a time? Like...
Yeah.
That's my only complaint.
But that kind of goes away as you progress, doesn't it? I mean,
it gets less and less, and then it comes back, and then it gets less and less, and then it comes back. And like I said, usually they're for like little moments, like 5 seconds. But it's still, I can't do anything for 5 seconds, and you're abrupting the flow of gameplay with this. Like, for example, there was a leap that I took off of like this ledge, and I landed on the ground, and I couldn't move because Nathan had to brush himself off. Like, he stood up, and then he just kind of like took his hand and brushed it up over his ass and stuff like that.
Now I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, that is
like
an
just
issue. Oh,
a bunch of little things that just stop you from playing the game. That I'm just like, come on.
There's a point in the game in my playthrough that where
brush your ass off while I'm playing.
I started a conversation with his brother, and I couldn't jump because he was talking, and I was getting pissed. I'm like, what? You can't jump and talk at the same time?
No,
so
seriously.
I had to wait for him to stop talking, and then I could jump up on the ledge and continue.
I had the same exact problem.
That's right, yeah.
I had the same exact problem. There's a point where you call Sully on like your cell phone or some shit, or like a walkie-talkie or something like that, and for the duration of that conversation, I couldn't even step down a pebble because he can't do that animation while on the phone. And I'm just sitting there, like, waiting for him to hang up the phone, and just little things like that. Again, these aren't big deals, and we're harping on them because they're annoying, but, like, they're like little grains of sand of annoyance in a great sandbox. But I feel like they're worth talking about.
Because there's one point in the game where you're doing something, and it's time critical. And I'll just say, so that I don't spoil, there's a point where somebody's bidding on something, and you're doing something. And you can't do anything until you're done talking to them through your headset. And I'm like, you could be looking for this thing that you need
I know.
while you're talking to them, but instead you're just sitting there and you can't do anything. And it was annoying the shit out of me. And it's a little thing, but it takes away from the suspense of the story because it's unrealistic.
Yeah, and like
those
think
little things are actually bigger deals than you might think.
Yeah, and I think the main problem is like they don't want to do cutscene dumps, which is understandable. Like a lot of games, a lot of people complain about games where be like, man, I was playing the game for like 30 minutes and then I had to wait 30 minutes for a cutscene to play. And like, I don't want to sit that long for a cutscene. And I understand that, but it's like they tried to avoid that by just giving you a cutscene every 5 minutes. And it just really disrupts the flow. Like there was a point, it was actually one of the last things I played, where I was literally doing a climbing puzzle, and I reached part of the puzzle, and the game stopped for 5-minute cutscene while I'm on an edge. And then I had to wait for the cutscene to end, and then I could continue with the climbing puzzle. And I was just like, don't do it so much. Let me play the game a little bit. I get it. The cutscenes are amazing. The story is great. The characters are awesome. It looks amazing, but I'm playing a game, guys. Let me play the game, you know? Like, those types of things can be done while I'm playing. Yeah. Like, I can have a conversation with Sully while I'm playing. I can overhear a conversation while I'm maneuvering around and finishing this puzzle, you know? You don't have to stop me from playing the game to do these things. But that's just a little complaint. Other than that, I'm having a great time with the game.
It's not a huge deal. It was actually so little of a deal that I completely forgot about it until you said something. So
yeah, I think that it's still a little sore because it just happened like 15 minutes before we did the podcast. So it's still a little like it's prevalent in my brain. But again, like I said, these are little things. I'm not saying that the game is bad by any stretch of the imagination because there's a lot of cutscenes. It's not. It's great. But it's just a little thing that I noticed. So, any other thoughts on good old Uncharted there, JRR?
No. Is there anything you wanted to add, Steph, from your? It seemed like you were trying to chime in there a little bit.
Earlier, Dan's like wondering like how long this game is. I've heard that it's like 15 hours or so. So.
Oh well, then yeah, I think I'm like 3 hours.
You're still like in Act 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I haven't played Uncharted, so I cannot put into my input what I think about the game. However, from what I've seen, it is gorgeous. So.
What do you think of the story? You've seen some of the story, right?
I really do like the character interactions. Naughty Dog's very good at writing character dialogue, so that the conversations do feel natural and it doesn't feel like, yes, could you get this key item for me? Like, it doesn't feel like...
It doesn't sound like Resident Evil 1.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't feel like game dialogue. It feels a
Oh
little
my
bit more
god!
like
He's
movie
dead.
dialogue or cinematic dialogue, which is kind of cool. I haven't had experience with the previous Uncharted games, but so far I really do like these characters that's presented so far, and yeah, it's cool. I'd be willing to play it if I had it.
I'd be curious to hear what your thoughts on the story, Jared, because I have a thing to say about them that is going to get me
I'm intrigued,
crucified,
and I have a theory, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. Well, I mean, I like the story. They start out, he's a Catholic boy, and it's and they're explaining the story about the thief, on the cross and stuff. You got to know a little bit of religious history, but they explain it to you. I think I know the special super ultra expensive item they're looking for, or at least I hope this is it. And from like legends are that the spear, and if I'm right and it's a spoiler, I apologize. This is just what I think. But the spear that pierced Jesus on the cross, it's like supposed to be this like super powerful and super valuable thing. I think that might be what the treasure is.
But
that
spear
looking for.
wasn't made of gold.
Well, I just think it's going to be an item. I don't know what it was made out of, but I think it's just going to... That's the item. And again,
anything's possible.
It's not based off of anything. It's just that they seem to be going off of the crucifixion and stuff like that. So it's kind of... And I'm only 2-3 hours into the game, or 2 hours into the game, so... It's really based off of nothing. I've seen two items, and those 2 items have led me to this. I'll probably play it for 10 minutes, and then it'll change based off of information. But I don't know. So it's kind of cool, like how they're kind of leading you on, giving you little hints, and then So I don't know. That's my theory.
Yeah. I'm kind of split on the story. I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this that doesn't like upset everybody. It's a very cliche story. Like Nathan Drake series, Uncharted's always kind of been like the cliche, like Indiana Jones popcorn adventure for hunting the treasure and stuff like that.
Search
and
for
like
Holy Grail.
Yeah, and like that's not bad, but I don't find that type of story particularly engaging. Like, I'm not at the edge of my seat going, did they get the treasure yet? Did he find the treasure? It's not in this room. Ah, man, shit. I was hoping the treasure would be in this room.
The story's not what's going to put you on the edge of your seat. It's it's what's in between the story.
Yeah. And, like, I'm also finding that, like, just a lot about the story is pretty far-fetched. I don't want to go into spoilers, but like it's a silly little thing, and I know it's silly to have like as a complaint, but there's no reason a treasure hunter would be killing this many people. Like, it just seems weird. Like I got an achievement. Jared, do you know that tuxedo thing you were talking about where it first got intense? I got an achievement for 50 headshot kills on that mission alone. And it's just like, that's not even including all the people that I killed regularly. I killed probably 100 people in a fucking mansion because Nathan Drake, I guess. Like, it just feels weird.
Point. He's like, I want to get out of it. Oh, I guess I can do it one more time. 50 body.
So
there's
weird.
Like a 50 body count later, and he's like, well, I guess I'll keep going because I'm hanging out with my bro.
Like I'm sorry, but somebody who kills this many people is either a psychopath or like has that Vietnam 1,000-yard stare afterwards.
Well, if you could put yourself in that state, you could say, well, it's self-defense. They shot first, but he is stealing their shit.
Yeah, it's funny though because I get the 50,000. I get the 50,000. I get the 50 headshot kill achievement or whatever. And I'm like, I killed a lot of people. And Nathan Drake's like, I thought it was the thing, but then I can't wait to go and get the treasure. Blah blah blah. Jokes. And I'm like, what is this character? What is this man? He's a homicidal maniac, but he's like doesn't
That's
even
actually a
know that he
problem.
is. And like,
Well, but you could say the same thing for Tomb Raider too. She's trying to get a treasure.
yeah, but
and-
she's also constantly fighting with the fact that she has to kill people, and she's not like a jokey, like happy-go-lucky person. She's clearly struggling with all this, and she's just trying to like Tomb Raider.
Well, the thing with
Rise
Tomb
of
Raider is the
Raider.
artifact could like destroy the world that she's.
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
find.
I was gonna say, like, this is a big deal that if these people get it, you know, they're gonna fucking enslave the human race. Like, it's a little bit more different than like, I want the $410 million. Like, it feels weird in that sense. Again, little things. I'm literally saying these as if they're huge complaints. They're not. So please don't think that I'm like completely bashing on it. But like the other things where it's just like, oh, Nathan Drake's got a brother. Nobody ever heard about him at all in any of the previous games. So let's take 2 hours to set up why you should care about this character and all this stuff. And then like the reason that you have to help his brother just seems really like, well, we needed a conflict, so here's the conflict. Like it doesn't.
Bros
I don't know.
before hoes, man. Bros before hoes.
It's just.
I get all
it's
that.
very,
And
it's very summer popcorn flick, but that doesn't make it good like The Last of Us.
No, I can see those complaints. I have this magic button in my head I can push where I can block all that stuff out and still enjoy it.
Just turn it off.
But I mean, there's points in the story where you're just like, okay, why would you be doing this? And but I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could nitpick everything. But yeah, this one just makes it kind of blatantly obvious.
Yeah, and like I said, these are little details. I'm not like going like, well, I don't want to play the game because the story is silly. No, it's just kind of like, oh, you know, this is this type of story, I guess. That's the story we're getting told. We're getting told and this is going to piss people off, but the Transformers of stories, where it's to get the things keep going. Nothing is incredibly engaging about Transformers story. Nothing is incredibly engaging about this story. What is engaging is the character dialogue and interactions and the gameplay and the puzzles and stuff. That's what makes... If Uncharted was just a movie only about the cutscenes and it didn't have any of the cool action or puzzles, it'd be a very, very average movie.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Transformers is if you can put yourself in a state where you believe that these robots that turn into vehicles that we own here on Earth that are from another planet visit us and turn into the vehicles that we own on our planet, if you can put yourself in that state of mind where that's okay, then you can believe anything that Michael Bay puts out there. Explosions in between stories.
But the thing is you have to do
explosions.
You have to do a bit of that, like there's a term for it. Suspension of disbelief. Thank you. If you have to do a specific level of suspension of disbelief for this story too, to be like, okay,
there's no doubt. No doubt.
His brother needs this because of this really bizarre reason, and then Nathan's doing this because of his brother, but Nathan's also a totally normal guy who then kills hundreds of people, and it's just for money. It's just there is a lot of suspension of disbelief.
I think
you
the
have to
issue
do
is
for this
that we're
story.
supposed to look at Nathan Drake as a good guy, and he's not a good guy.
But they make him out
He's
as
a
a good
bad
guy.
guy.
He acts like a good guy. He's the silly, happy, you know, like. They're putting
insane.
him in a role that should be a just psychotic person.
He is. He gets punched by people and he just makes jokes about it. He's like a Deadpool kind of insane.
But see, the thing is like he is a Deadpool kind of insane, but Deadpool also acknowledges that he's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, but he also breaks the
Nate
fourth
is
wall.
like, I'm just a normal guy trying to get the treasure. Oh, here comes 50 guys. Let me plop them in the skulls. Like, those people had families, man. Like,
no, I mean,
you did
it
that
seems
for
to
money?
me, when it came to the story for Uncharted, they took a quote from they took a man, that Avery guy, and his quote, and they're like, let's build a story around this guy. All right. Well, we don't know anything about Nathan Drake's brother. All right, let's do it. And here we are. We have Uncharted 4.
Again, not bad story at all. It's just not. It's not the Last of Us story, where like even though the Last of Us was pretty cliche in a lot of senses. Like, it was pretty cliche in a lot of senses. It was still a terribly believable and engaging story throughout.
You have
and
to,
there is
you have to
nothing
set the
like that
precedence.
in
like you can if you can believe that a zombie apocalypse can happen, you can believe everything that happens in The Last of Us. But there is no. This is just it's a normal guy doing a normal thing, looking for a super rare thing, following clues, and he's just doing crazy things, and there's no line that is set of.
There's also those layers in The Last of Us where it's like, hey, this is about survival, you know. So when you put a survival situation, pretty much anybody's death can be excused, especially if they're trying to kill you. Now, if Joel just started walking around shooting innocent people, that would have been weird and upsetting, and people would not have liked that. But every person that Joel shot was trying to kill him first. So there's that level, but then there's also the level that Joel is a bad guy, and he's clearly a bad guy. He acts like a bad guy. He's very anti-hero. He's very for himself. So that means all of his actions make sense. All of that fits together in a nice little package that can be tied up in a bow for The Last of Us that makes sense. But then you have this where it's just very contrasty. You got your, hey, silly jokes, blah, 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 popcorn flick. Hey, we're going to get the treasures and get monies and all that stuff with Sully's. And then there's the horrible murdering. And then my brother's here and he needs me because of a weird reason that doesn't seem to fit.
So
why would anybody expect...
Because you can say, well, okay, Nathan Drake's just insane. But then he's worried about permits. It's like, okay, he wants to be a good person. He's just a bad person, and it really breaks that threshold when you have to when it's back and forth like that. Because,
and I think I came up with the best definition or term for what I'm saying is the story is disjointed. It has a lot of different things that don't quite fit together seamlessly. There's a little bit of disjointed.
Here's another thing: is why. When he sneaks out of the church, hopefully this isn't a spoiler.
Well, just be careful with what you say.
You're jumping around a whole bunch of buildings to get to a point. Why not just go on the streets? Because the streets are completely empty. It's like there's just an unnecessary, like they got to find reasons for you to have to jump on all of these random obstacles to get to a place. And so it's like filler. It's like, okay, well, this is Uncharted. They got to be jumping and climbing all over the place. So let's put this guy's cell way up in the air. Let's put let's make them have to go around the block, but they have to use only the buildings, so it takes an hour to do. Or it's like.
And again, I don't want to sit here and just compare these two stories because they're completely different stories for completely different types of people. But The Last of Us has that layer of just like it's completely believable why you have to do the things you do. Where in this game, it's more of like, well, the writer had to come up with a reason for why you're doing what you have to do for a gameplay reason. You know what I mean? Like, it feels different. And again, I know that people and their response is totally justified. And that's kind of what I said, where it's like, that's not the story that we wanted from this game. We don't want gritty, real, the Dark Knight Batman version of Batman for Nathan Drake. They don't want it to be that. They like that it's silly and that it's not serious and that it is just like, hey, this guy's got to get treasure. I'm going to shoot the bat. Like, people like that that's the kind of story. And I totally understand that. And that's totally fine. I personally prefer more grounded, believable stories. It's part of the reason why I find very few games that exist in.
Well, I think the story needs to establish a set. Like, okay, so for instance, like you could play a Zelda game and it's a fantasy world and you've got a line established and they don't break that line. But this is established as a real world person doing real world things. So there's no, you think of it as a real world story and there's no supernatural aspect. So that's where. But like the great thing about Tomb Raider is where I can't say that without spoiling it. Where it seems supernatural, but it's not. So all of those things are explained. But like you got to establish that line. If you're playing a movie about aliens that attack Earth, then you've established a line that you have to believe that aliens can attack Earth. But then you're not gonna go and break that line and say, well, I have powers where I can fly. Unless you're playing Superman. You can't just say that this is a normal world. We're not breaking any rules. We're not putting you in a place where you have to believe something that's not there exists and then break all those rules because then it's kind of wonky. I'm not explaining it very well, but hopefully somebody out there understands what I'm trying to say.
But even then, like, I find it's hard for me to get engaged in a fantasy world. Even if they do a really good job grounding it and saying, like, these are the rules. To me, when I think fantasy, I'm like, it's silly. It's, dragons and lightning and magic. It's silly. That doesn't exist. But I can suspend my disbelief in certain circumstances. So, like, it's just the kind of person that I am. I prefer a little bit more... I guess grounded is the best word for it. Like things that are like grounded, they can still be silly and have fantastical elements. Like, I think a pretty good example. If anybody saw the new Equalizer movie, the remake with Denzel Washington, that's grounded in reality because it's reality. But that guy does things that no human can do. Like, there is some seriously fantastical things in there. But I can still get behind that because I still feel relatively grounded, even when the fantastical things happen.
Well, here's an example. Have you guys seen the new Deadpool movie? Or the Deadpool movie?
I haven't.
Okay, so, he's famous in the comics for being the only comic character that breaks the fourth wall. He talks to the reader. Right. And that going into the movie, and he does that in the movie. And so you know that, and it's a great movie. It's a great movie. So, but these things going in there, that it's kind of, he's breaking the fourth wall, and he's kind of insane. He annoys people with his talk, and
Can I tell you a funny little story?
Experience. Well, real quick, but if you didn't know that about Deadpool, if you thought Deadpool was just another Captain America, and then you watch that movie not knowing that he talks to the audience and does all these things, it might not be as enjoyable experience. I don't know. So that's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's actually funny that
a certain expectation. So
it's funny that you say that, because that exact situation was my father. He went into Deadpool thinking it was supposed to be a funny superhero movie, and he came out and I was like, "So what'd you think?" And he's like, "It was okay. I don't understand why he kept talking to the audience." And I'm like,
"See?
Yeah, that's kind of Deadpool's thing." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "That's what Deadpool does. He's done that all the time in all the comics." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't even know he was a comic book character." Like my dad had no idea who this guy was, so he went in and just had no idea what to expect. And because of that, he actually found that he didn't really enjoy the film that much. He thought it had some funny jokes, but like overall, he's like, it didn't really work. It didn't make sense for me.
Yeah, I had to explain that to my wife and my sister-in-law before I watched it, and I'm glad I did, because I think that they really enjoyed the movie because they knew that was part of the movie. It was a comedy, and he breaks fourth wall. So I don't know, but anyways, I feel like we're gonna get a lot of trash talk because I feel like we spent more time dissing.
Well, I think what
Uncharted,
we should
do, which we're not trying to do. It's a great game.
What I think we should do is we should do the final summary for the game, which is that we both think it sucks. Terrible game. Absolutely terrible. Naughty Dog should go under as a company.
They don't know what they're doing.
And everybody who worked there should never be able to get a job anywhere ever again.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much the sum of what we said?
They should be drug out in the street and shot.
I did not hear
in
any
the
of that.
dicks.
I'm not a witness. I'm not an accomplice.
I'm not a
I'm
witness
not involved with any of this.
No, the game's great. We love it. These are little
I'd give
things
it like a 9.5 out of 10. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it
too early for me to rate it personally.
So far, from what I've played, 9.5 out of 10. Every game starts out with a 10 out of 10, and then once I hit the start button, the title screen, it starts going down.
That's an
or
interesting
it stays where it is.
Way to see it. Actually, just start with 10.
You
got
to be optimistic at every game you play, or why are you playing the game if you're not optimistic about it?
I like to stick with a steady realist, and the game
you give
has
it a 0 starting out, and then it gradually.
To me, actually, everything starts at a 5.
Okay.
And then it either gains points or loses points.
I kind of do the same
Usually
thing
it'll do both.
as well. Because I don't want to set the bar too high. Because there have been instances where I have played games that lots of people kind of like, it's like a 6 or whatever. But I actually had a lot of fun with it because I had like the bar low. But I felt like, I feel like that if I had like the bar... okay, the example that I'm thinking right now is Binary Domain. It's not exactly like the best game ever. But I thoroughly enjoyed it like a lot. But I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't enjoy it as much, and it's because I've heard that, all the commentary about it, that I had the bar low, and so I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't suck. Whereas if I had the hype that I had with it like years ago, I feel like I might have the same response where it's like, this isn't a good game.
What about Destiny? There's so much hype about that game.
That's the thing.
Should somebody go in that game with a 10 out of a 10 and then go down, or should they go in that game with a 5 out of 10?
I think Dan's method of starting average is the best way to go, because I went into Destiny with high expectations, and it wasn't until like I revisited it with lower expectations that I actually started enjoying the game. So yeah, start with like, okay, this is a video game. This is kind of what I'm going to expect, and then see your way through there. So
my concern is if I'm playing games like Uncharted, for the intensity, if I don't have high expectations, the intensity it gets lost. Because I'm like, all right, well, I don't expect greatness and I don't expect terribleness, so here we go. And then it's just an average feeling. But if I go in here expecting the experience I had in the other Uncharted game, high expectations, then I go in there with this intensity and an excitement that I wouldn't have otherwise, and then it makes it more enjoyable. So I don't know, maybe that's why I'm giving it such a high rating, and as opposed to if I went into it with different expectations. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, expectations kind of only falter in my experience. Like, if you expect something to be great, unless it is exactly what you expect, you're going to be let down, typically. Which just kind of, you're basically forcing it to meet a bar that it shouldn't have to meet because it hasn't shown you what its bar is yet. So like,
but
that's
5
why,
out of 10 seems kind of low for an expectation. Maybe like an 8 out of a 10 for an expectation.
Okay, so I'm not flat out walking in going, this game is going to be average.
Maybe a 5 out of 10, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, I don't have expectations, I guess. Like, my expectation is right there in the middle. It could be good, it could be bad. The game is going to have to prove to me which one of those it is.
You're going with an open mind, but you're not going in there thinking it's going to be a Zelda game.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to be that bad.
Get out.
Oh, get burned.
Don't ever tell me a Zelda game's bad. Except for the second one.
No, I'm kidding.
You can say that one.
I'm kidding. But no, like there's a lot of people saying like Uncharted is amazing, Uncharted 4 is fucking insane. And I'm like, okay. When I hear that, I go, it's worth giving a shot. I don't go, I can't wait to play this game that's amazing, 10 out of 10, game over, GDU. Like, it's not, that's not how I set up the expectation in my brain hole.
Yeah.
Now, is that wrong for me? Maybe, but it seems to work out for me. So
yeah, whatever works for you, because like what Jared has, works for him, but
there's a lot
it wouldn't
of
be something.
Yeah.
Actually, his method
what
is
Jared
completely
has
flawed. I can't
is
believe you can even think that way.
inflated ego and.
Let me tell you.
No, like his method works for him. My method works for me. Like everybody, it's all a matter of like finding your own method, which is like an interesting thing to also keep in mind when you're looking at reviews. Like keep in mind of this is like almost like a weird segue, but keep in mind like who is reviewing. Because you can be viewing the same video game news site, but different reviewers have different ways of doing things. And so like it's more like finding that reviewer that you share, opinions on. That it's best to listen to them because they're likely to think like you.
I also love how we said we were going to go through all this stuff very quickly, and then we spent half the podcast on Uncharted.
This is quickly for us.
No, we need to do better.
I'm saying for us, this is quickly.
So Jared, quickly, you got 5 minutes.
Quickly.
You brought up.
So quickly, I've got 30 minutes. All right.
Right. You brought up Dark Souls. What were your? It sounded like you wanted to talk about something specifically on it, maybe?
No. I mean, it's a game that we haven't talked about really on our podcast. So I just thought maybe it should get a shout out or something.
Shout out to Dark Souls.
It's a big game.
It's a
huge game. I mean, a lot of people love it. So, yay, Dark Souls. All right, moving on. What do we got next?
So why don't we do this kind of similar thing? Thoughts on Dark Souls. 5 minutes.
Go.
You. Start off, baby.
I always start. Damn it. All right.
Yeah, that's because I like it when you start. It makes me horny.
Okay. So, wow. Extremely. Well, it's just like Dark Souls. Any other Dark Souls. It's extremely frustrating but addicting. It's. Yeah, some improvements, some things that weren't quite so improved.
I'm glad that you had all the time to really think out your argument here.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't really know what kind of. I've only played a bit of it. I'm still kind of not. I don't really like the co-op. the online aspect of it.
I like that there's co-op. I hate the implementation.
Yeah, I don't. I really wish I could just play alongside with my buddy. Dark Souls 3 would be so awesome if I could just play along with somebody who's really good at the game.
That's because it's easy.
Because it makes my life a lot easier. But I understand why they don't do that, because everything has to be complicated. Even just connecting with your friend was freaking complicated. I don't consider myself an expert gamer, a pro gamer. I consider myself a casual gamer, and this is probably not a great game for casual gamers.
You don't say.
If you don't like dying a lot, don't get it. But you already know that about Dark Souls. You've been warned by every single person who talks about Dark Souls. So the story, loopy as hell. Don't know what the shit's going on. I don't even. Actually, in fact,
they have a story.
The people who wrote it don't even know what's going on. This is a fact. They just they actually held a contest where if you could guess what the story is about, they'd give you $10,000.
Really?
Yeah, and apparently nobody's gotten that yet, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah, check out Limino's
here's the
website
thing,
because he says all about it.
It's incredible, but I bet what it really is they're doing some like bullshit thing. Like there was an idea that I had a long time ago, back when I was doing music a lot and I was writing a lot of different songs and stuff like that, where I wrote a song that felt like it could have come out of any emo band ever. It was this really cliche, like fucking, I don't remember the lyrics, but it was very cliche, like, you bitch, why you do this, all this crap, blah blah blah.
Basically, love you.
Yeah, it basically sounded like every other like you cheated on me and I hate you song ever. But I literally wrote the song about ketchup and like my hate for ketchup.
That's amazing.
So it's probably they did something like that for fucking Dark Souls, where it's just like, well, actually, the actual story is about one time when the developer was a kid, he almost drowned in a well, and this is his interpretation of that. Well, and that's probably why nobody knows what the story is.
Limino went on to, they got a lot of ideas from other sources, random sources, and then just kind of put them together into a game. So it makes sense that it doesn't make sense. I would encourage going to his YouTube channel and watching his stuff. He does a really good job.
Who'd you say?
I don't want to plug somebody else's stuff. And,
are you talking about Vadi Vidya?
Limino, I heard. Yeah, I think it's Limino.
I don't know.
Limino. I'll send you the link.
Thanks.
It's good stuff about somebody else's stuff.
But anywho, because it's been more than 5 minutes.
I mean, if they're good.
So that's all I got. I really don't have. I mean, I was kind of hoping we would be like a joint venture on this, but you kind of put me in the spotlight.
Well, I was just gonna say, for me, Dark Souls 3 is a game. To me, the best part about Dark Souls is that it's a video game. And that sounds like a weird thing to say. Yes. Like, it sounds like, well, what do you mean? Like, they're all video games. But like, it's a game. That's all Dark Souls is. Sure, is there story if you want to read into every item you pick up and really try to decrypt what's going on? Yeah, sure. But the game starts, there's like a fucking minute-long thing of this old girl going, and it was called Lothric. And then you start the game, and there's 3 cutscenes after that. And the rest of it is just the game. And that's all it is. There's never making any, like, oh, don't forget to talk to Sanchez. He needs you to get his dog from the vet. Like, it's not story, it's not anything. It is just like, hey, you know what this game is? You verse things that are typically better than you, don't die. And that's the game. And you do that over and over and over again. And it sounds, well, that sounds stupid and flat and boring and no depth and very repetitive. Yet, you'll do it over and over and over again. And then you'll beat the game and you'll be like, wow, I hated that. Time for New Game Plus. And then you'll go back in and
play through the game.
And then you do it again. It is crack cocaine, the video game.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I'll tell you.
I'll tell you why. Because when you beat that boss that's super hard, it is the greatest feeling you can get in a video game. It is like a super mega shot of dopamine. You're just like, whoa, I'm awesome!
That was amazing!
Adam's like, oh, move on to the next call.
Okay, oh my gosh, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I gotta work in 2 hours. Okay.
But that's the thing that I'll hate, because like there was a couple points while playing Dark Souls 3 where I got to a boss that I just could not beat in the amount of like patience that I had. And so I would literally be like, all right, I quit. And I'd quit the game. And then like an hour later, I'd be like, I could probably beat him. And I would go back into the game. Like, it's just like...
Yeah. It's a game that literally, like, if you make a mistake, you pay for it. You can't make mistakes in the game, or you pay for it. I mean,
right.
You can make some because you have a health bar, but every mistake costs. And people like me who make lots of mistakes in video games, it really shows.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
It's Dark Souls 3 is a phenomenal game. I can't give it a perfect rating because I've beaten the game at this point, which sucks because I didn't do it blind on the fucking channel like I said I was going to. But I beat the game at this point, so I feel like I can fairly rate it. Dark Souls 3 is a 9 out of 10 game for me.
Nice.
It probably could have reached 9.5 if there weren't a couple like frustrating things. Like, the game is really good about making it feel like it's your fault when you die, but there are some enemies and some attacks that bosses have that just kind of feel cheap and feel like it really... I mean, that was kind of your fault, but it's also kind of your fault because you fought against this enemy, and this enemy has an attack that's just bullshit. Like specifically, there is something in the game called the Irithyll Beast. It's basically this weasel badger monstrosity, and you will get hit by it even though its attack doesn't hit you. Like, you will. I'm sure if you sat there and went frame by frame and analyzed the attacks, that you would notice you getting hit by an attack that doesn't even touch you. And then there's a couple bosses, like, I thought the Yorm fight was terribly, stupidly boring. The thing you have to do to beat that fight is really bad and super boring. Like, I beat that boss twice. The second time I beat that boss, I probably could have fallen asleep doing it because it's so boring. So it has a few things that keep it from like a 9.5 or even 10. But that game, 9 out of 10 is a very high rating for me. That doesn't get attained by a lot of games.
BioShock, is that your 10 out of 10?
BioShock is a 10 out of 10 game. So is Resident Evil 4.
Figured.
Resident Evil 4.
Yes, is also a 10 out of 10 game. I'm sorry, if there's a game that I will literally play through the campaign more than 5 times and still have fun, that's a 10 out of 10 game. I'm sorry, it is. And I've played BioShock and Resident Evil probably more than 8 times apiece. Actually, Resident Evil 4 I've probably beaten 20 times front to back.
He has that game.
I know a lot of games I've played through twice.
So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Dark Souls 3, fantastic. Expect to get your fucking dick kicked in.
But you'll love it.
Expect to rage a lot. Get it electronically or you'll break your disc in half.
What I'm trying to say is that Dark Souls 3 is basically the domestic abuse of video games.
I don't know if it's harder than Dark Souls 2 or not. Dark Souls 2,
you wanna quit. So. You wanna quit Dark Souls, but it loves you and it wants you to come back.
It's like Satan, you know.
I'm going to hell. Yeah, so cool. All right, final thing that I want to talk about. How privy are you two guys about the whole infinite? I keep wanting to call it Infinity Warfare because of Infinite Ward. Infinite Warfare trailer, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and the Battlefield 1 trailer. Jared, have you seen either?
No. No interest in either of those.
Fuck you.
In fact, I almost threw up you just saying those. No, I'm just kidding. No,
You
are a piece of shit.
And I have to say that I am surprised that this is going to sound like a terrible insult, but it's like, I don't mean it to sound bad, but this is legitimately what I thought. I was surprised that Infinity Ward managed to make sci-fi generic. Like, it seems... I watched the trailer. It has way more information than Battlefield 1. However, I was looking through it, and I wasn't it wasn't engaging. It just didn't feel like something that I'd be looking forward to play. And I like Call of Duty. I have enjoyed immensely Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4, played a little bit of the later ones. It's not a bad game. It's fun. I'm sure if I pick up Infinite Warfare, I'd have fun too. But it's not something that I would put down $60 day one and would play for 20 hours or more. It's not a game that looks like something that I would be committed to. Whereas Battlefield 1 has the interesting card where it's World War I. Nobody's really done that before. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do. And that seems to me more interesting than gunfights in space. Which sucks because, like, I love space. Anything space I just love. But right now, Battlefield 1.
So at what point did Call of Duty go from
I think
blah
the main
to space?
Well, before you do that, because I wanted to say something in response to Steph. I think that the main problem with the Call of Duty trailer is that it was way too long and showed off way too little. Like, if you're gonna do a long video, you need to make that paced really well and give me a lot of information. Otherwise, go short but just super compact. And the problem is the Call of Duty, video didn't really show off much in terms of what's actually going to happen. And it was a 4-minute fucking video. Like, it was just like, what happened there? It was so slow. And, like, everybody's kind of sick of the space stuff, I can pretty much safely say at this point. Like, maybe not for everybody. I'm sure there's some people out there be like, I love that it's sci-fi. But I think most Call of Duty fans, they've had 5 fucking Call of Duties. Well, wait. 4 or 5 Call of Duties, yeah, that have, like, all been, in space, sci-fi, blah, blah. And they just kind of want not that anymore. And then they still got it. So everybody's dealing with that. They're dealing with the fact that it's in space and nobody really wants that. It's Infinity Ward, doing the game, which, people have been less than overwhelmed by Infinity Ward's past 2 titles. And there's also the fact that, like, there's the whole Call of Duty, remaster in there that is, like, required to be bought through the, game and stuff that's pissing people off. And I think it's just all those things got put together. And then Battlefield came out and said, hey, guess what? We know what you guys want. You want new experiences. You want boots on the ground. You want, real war. Here's World War I, which, show me another AAA developer who's made a World War I game. And it's so fresh, it's so new, and it's what everybody wanted. They wanted something new to do in a shooter. They wanted boots on the ground. They don't want kill streak whoring, UAV missiles, sci-fi wall running, triple sow cows. They want boots on the ground, real, dirty, gritty, violent, gameplay. And that's what it looks like Battlefield's going to deliver. And I think that's why everything's gone, the way that it's gone. It's really interesting. If you give me 2 seconds here, I'll look up the sales numbers because I think they're pretty important for the point that I'm going to make here in a second. But everybody knows that Call of Duty is one of, if not the biggest franchise right now. Like, everybody knows Call of Duty. My mom knows what Call of Duty is when I say that word. Blah, blah, blah. So, it's huge. They sell crazy amounts. I want to get exactly the numbers. But I believe that the highest selling Call of Duty game was Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3. Warfare 3. And it was like 35 million units or something like that. Like just insane amount of units. Give me a second here. I gotta.
While you're looking through that, I do want to say, say that this is something I do want to point out. Even though Call of Duty has been a little weird and bland as of late, it's still making a lot of sales. And it's interesting because I hear people saying, well, they should pull the plug on Call of Duty, they should stop making those games. My personal opinion, I honestly think that a lot of the revenue that is coming from these Call of Duty games, hopefully, I'm hoping this is what Activision is doing. They're using Call of Duty to fund their other studios. for like hopefully maybe a chance for like new IPs and things like that. I know this is a practice, but the thing is that I'm not entirely sure. I can't really say that for a fact. The only reason I'm pointing this out now is because I know for a fact that this is something that the animation industry does. With reruns and like shows that's been going on for too long, that they're using that to fund their other shows, which new shows happen more than new IPs from bigger companies, which is,
I mean, show me an Activision
I know,
new
that's
IP.
the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like I kind of hope that maybe Activision, I mean, they're not going to do that, but I'm just hoping that perhaps they might start doing that, because eventually it's going to get to the point where Call of Duty the sales will drop and it will no longer, be a sustainable franchise, and Activision might eventually pull the plug on it. But I feel like at this point, Activision might start looking into the future and take that money and invest it in something new and different, to eventually replace Call of Duty, because unless COD has a renaissance, sometime in its life, we might just see a dip in sales eventually, because, with Battlefield 1 and maybe in the future different, new games coming out, that's what I'm thinking.
According to this website, Statistics Brain, which I have no idea how reliable they are, according to them, Modern Warfare 3 sold 26,500,000 copies, with the next highest being Black Ops 2 with 24.4 million, and then Black Ops 1 with 21.6. Call of Duty Ghosts only sold 16 million, which is still crazy high, but very low for a Call of Duty. Also, just to, because this is actually kind of interesting, Call of Duty 1 sold 1.7 million. Call of Duty 2, 2.5. Call of Duty 3, 1.25. Call of Duty 4, 13.5. Huge growth in COD 4. But this is all led to a specific point that I was trying to make, because Call of Duty has been destroying Battlefield in terms of sales figures. Like a lot. Let's see. Call of Battlefield 3, which is actually what sold the most out of all Battlefield games, was 15 million. Battlefield 4 sold 13.8 million, which is lower. Battlefield Hardline sold 4 million. Huge drop for Battlefield Hardline.
But that, to be fair, though,
and it's not a numbered version, which usually is not great for sales. But it was also a weird one, and after Battlefield 4, everybody was so like afraid of Battlefield because of how terrible the launch was. But the reason I brought this up is because Black Ops 3 has, I think, gone pretty well in terms of sales. From what I understand, I don't think that it's... Let's see here. According to Forbes, Black Ops 3 is resting at just over 12 million after the 4th week on the market. So that's pretty low in terms of sales. Now, it's been out for a lot longer than 4 weeks, so I'm sure there's a more updated number that's probably a lot higher, especially after Christmas. But needless to say, it's been going down. Call of Duty sales have been going kind of down. With Ghosts being the last one that Infinity Ward made at 16 million, Ghosts was received a lot better than, Infinite Warfare has been so far. And Ghosts is pretty kind of universally bashed by Call of Duty fans. So, this basically is just like projected. It could be that Call of Duty Call of Duty Infinite Warfare sells pretty bad compared to other Call of Duties. And because the current hype is so low on Call of Duty right now, and the hype is so high on Battlefield now, it's going to be crazy interesting to see what happens when these two games come out, what their sales figures are, because this might be the first time in Battlefield's history where its sales are pretty neck and neck with Call of Duty, and that's huge. I still think Call of Duty is going to outsell Battlefield. I think it will. I think it will by several million units. But this might be the first time where, they're pretty close in that ballpark. And that's actually pretty huge because Battlefield's always kind of been the underdog. It's always been great. It's always had its fan base and, everybody's loved it. But it's never been the fucking monolith that Call of Duty is. So it could be a really interesting year unless Battlefield, does something to kind of really bring down the hype, and Infinite Warfare does something to really bring up the hype. This could be a changing of tides. The tides might be a turning. So I just found that really interesting.
Is Battlefield coming out with a game every year though?
I fucking hope not.
They usually put in a couple years in between, especially since DICE is also simultaneously working on the new Battlefront, which, by the way, is coming out 2017. So
yeah, but you also got to realize that DICE is 3 studios.
Is it?
I think.
Well, that makes
I'll have to look it up. I know there's DICE LA. I'm pretty sure there's a DICE in Sweden. And there's a DICE in
I can check
Canada
for you.
Somebody look it up. Let me know.
Because that would make a lot more sense. Where it's like, oh yeah,
I know that there are at least 2 studios because the studio that was working on Battlefront actually came to help with Battlefield 4. So they at least have 2 studios. I'm pretty sure they have at least 3. But yeah. Anywho, I was just saying it was really interesting to kind of watch this because when the Infinite Warfare trailer came out, everybody was like, "Holy shit, Infinite Warfare!" And then they had the whole announcement of the Call of Duty 4 remaster, and I was like, "Oh my god, I am so buying that remaster!" And then I found out that I had to buy Infinite Warfare, and now I'm like, I don't think I'm going to, and that sucks because I want a remastered version of Call of Duty 4 so fucking bad. So, they got a lot of bad press because of that. A lot of people saying this is bullshit. I shouldn't have to buy, I shouldn't spend $80 for a game that, should only cost me, 20, 30 bucks.
Yeah.
Just because you want to lump it in. And then again, there's the whole sci-fi space thing and the fact that it's Infinity Ward, it just, a lot of bad press happened from this trailer. And then Battlefield came out and fucking killed it. It's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how much the times change with this new Battlefield. If it really does upset as much as it has the potential to upset. It'll be interesting.
Okay, so looking at information here, their headquarters are in Sweden. They have 3 locations. I cannot find what 3 of those locations. I'm sure if I keep digging, I'll find it. But across...
I know LA is one. I know what LA is one for a fact. I'm pretty sure LA is the Battlefield.
Okay. Now, this is according to Wikipedia, so I'm not entirely sure how accurate it is. But according to what it says here, in 2014, they have 560 employees spread across these 3 locations. So that seems like a decent amount of folk working throughout these, across these 3 studios. Okay, so we got Los Angeles. We've got, Canada and Sweden. So,
okay, so I was right. So that's DICE. So I'm pretty sure that they have those split out. Kind of like I think that they all have a hand in all of their games, but like each team is kind of dedicated to one specifically. So
DICE developed a Shrek game for the Xbox and GameCube in 2001.
So Jared, you said that you weren't interested in any of this, so I don't know how much
input
I'm not
interested.
Have.
I just haven't seen it in any.
Well, you flat out said it, and I will play the clip back if I'm not lazy. That said, I have no interest in either of those games.
No, I have no interest in watching those videos. Yeah, you're right. But
I'm pretty sure you said either of those games.
I also have not watched them either, so because of no interest. So
either way, what do you have any fucking thoughts? Are you just gonna be like,
I haven't played the previous Call of Duty game. You know, the one that you bought that you said you wouldn't buy, the Black Ops 3. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the same thing for the next one. And
well, I said that I wouldn't buy it if it was unless it had something that convinced me to buy it.
Buy a Battlefield game. I played the demo for like Battlefield 3 or something, and I hated it. I died like within 5 seconds every time I spawned. And I was like, "Oh, this is dumb," and then I quit. So yeah, not a big fan of it either.
It's just because you suck.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't like it. It's because I suck at them. Nah, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I suck at first-person shooters, especially when it has a hardcore fan base. Just can't compete with that. Sorry.
But, okay, so you don't care about either of the games, but, like, what are your opinions on, Call of Duty, not being received so well, and Battlefield, for the first time in its, history, being
it's only
received
a matter of time, man.
Really, really well so far. Especially after how much Battlefield's name was tainted after the whole Battlefield 4 release debacle. Like, I mean,
some there people take advice and they improve upon their mistakes, and some people they don't care. They just keep putting out a product that they feel is going to be a good product and hope for the best.
Well, it was interesting because somebody had made a point that I thought was actually pretty smart, is that, a lot of people are wondering why the hell Infinity Ward is making a sci-fi game when it's pretty clear that, sci-fi has kind of run its course for the moment. It's kind of out as it currently stands. And the guy said, you got to realize that this is the first, or maybe not the first, maybe Black Ops 3 was the first one. This is one of the first games done on the 3-year cycle, meaning that this game was probably in development when Titanfall was going to be a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
So they were making this game when sci-fi space was the shit. Mm-hmm. That's when they started making this game. And it's only after kind of Black Ops 3 and modern or advanced warfare.
When has sci-fi been the shit, though? I mean, is what I'm wondering.
When Halo was popular and everybody thought that's what made Halo great.
Halo, Mass Effect.
But I don't think that's what makes Halo great.
I agree. But that's the thing. That's the company distilling. Hey, what's making Halo sell so much?
Aliens.
Oh, third space. Do that. We want to be in space.
What makes Call of Duty sell so well? Well, let's just completely change the formula and just go. Okay, never mind.
What makes Call of Duty sell so well is the fact that Call of Duty 4 was one of the greatest multiplayer experiences. At the time.
It's also it's modern and it's not Halo, but when you start making it Halo,
but the thing is I don't.
Halo.
There's a lot of people who think that when you make something sci-fi, that it becomes bad.
No,
and I completely disagree.
No, what I don't like is that they're going against what they're. It's like we're doing our games this way. Well, because it's popular, let's now start doing our games this way. Stick to what you know. Or stick to what you are. Like if. Make Call of Duty games where they're modern, and if you want to make a futuristic Call of Duty game, then call it something else. Call it Call of Space Duty or something. I don't know.
That's a lot easier to say when you're just a dude saying that, and you're not a person who's controlling millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of income.
I understand that, but when those millions and millions of dollars are being made when you make modern combat games, and then you make futuristic combat games that are not making millions and millions, well, they are, but not as many millions of dollars, then it doesn't take a genius to figure out that maybe you should stick to what you're good at.
Here's
the
thing.
problem that comes from that is they have the fear of, like, if we deliver what we've already delivered, then people aren't going to buy it because they already own it. That's why change happens.
Yeah. Well, last time
the world isn't revolving around futuristic first-person shooters, though. It just happens to be that there are a lot of popular ones, but that doesn't mean that that's what everybody wants. I mean, there's just a lot of popular ones out there.
I think Activision is just changing things up because it worked for them when they swapped from World War II to Modern Warfare. They saw the success that they got, so I figured they're like, oh, times are changing, let's change it up. what can we go from here? Advanced warfare, and that's kind of like what happened.
I also want to
kind of
commend...
lose the intensity when you go from World War II and you're in the trenches to when you can just call airstrikes whenever you want. It kind of lose the intensity of the game, when you've got
According
these digital things that can do all this blah blah blah.
It was more popular.
Well, yeah, all I can do is offer my opinion.
Yeah,
my opinion means shit.
No, it's fine.
But
I mean, I love Call of Duty 2, but if somebody said, all right, you get either Call of Duty 2 for the rest of your life or Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare for the rest of your life, I would pick Modern Warfare. It is a better game than Call of Duty 2. Now, would I absolutely fucking love if the next Call of Duty was Call of Duty 2? World War 2 game again? Oh, fuck yeah. That's what I've been waiting for. That's why I'm so... That's why I'm so hyped for Battlefield 1, because it's going back to that kind of area, even before then. But anyways, I just wanted to, before we get wrapped up here, I just wanted to say that I commend DICE and EA and whoever was in charge of the decision to let DICE make a World War I game, because that was a huge risk that they took on Battlefield 1. That is a huge risk. There was a lot of people. There was a point where I think everybody's at currently that happened kind of the end of Xbox, the original, I can't say Xbox One. Yeah, the original Xbox and the Xbox 360, where everybody was sick of World War II shooters. They were done. They're like, we're done with this. We're sick of this fucking everybody doing these old World War II games. We need new stuff. And that's why, modern games came out. And then, everybody kind of got sick of modern. And then now we're into sci-fi. And now everybody's sick of sci-fi. So, the risk that they took with not only going back in time, but also going to a war that people really didn't make games out of, and all of this during this time, I mean, it was a huge risk. That could have completely backfired. Everybody could have looked at this and gone, I don't want to do World War I. That doesn't look fun. That's boring and old. But that's not what happened. Everybody was super excited about the change of pace. And I mean, it paid off for them, but that was a huge risk. And I'm sure it took some serious convincing of those higher ups to let that go through. So I'm very excited. I think we talked about this in actually one of the first podcasts we did, where I said what I want is a World War II game developed by DICE. And I got pretty much the next best thing. So I am a fucking happy chappy. I am so goddamn stoked for Battlefield 1. I hate the name. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And whoever came up with that name should be fucking slapped. Battlefield 1 is the dumbest name. It's almost as stupid as the Xbox One. But I am mad hyped.
Cool beats.
Final notes, final thoughts, final Jeopardy?
Nope.
Wow, you guys talk.
No,
listen, I put in my 2 cents.
I'm sorry. I'm listening to my wife and kid talk downstairs, and I'm rehearsing in my head my excuse for why I went over.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty. I'll say, blame Call of Duty and Battlefield.
No, blame Call of Duty.
But more so Call of Duty.
It's also interesting that they also, with the presentation of Battlefield, stuck with Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3, where it's almost like a modern futuristic techie font and flares everywhere, that red, that orange and blue kind of presentation. It's interesting that they went that direction with their World War I game and not back, with Medal of Honor or anything like that.
It's pretty much the same reason that Jared was talking about, why he's he doesn't understand why they don't call it Space of Duty or something.
Yeah. Oh, it's to maintain.
It's the recognizability.
That's their brand now. That's their,
it's the
their
brand.
profile.
When you hear that, when you see that, when you do those things, you think Battlefield. Mm-hmm. And that's what they want. They want you in their brain.
I see that.
And I agree with that. I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you somehow managed to make it through all our hate for Uncharted 4, thank you for watching and listening. We'll be back next time with hopefully
we'll hate
more,
on the multiplayer for Uncharted 4.
More controversial topics and anger. What do you guys think about all this? You guys play Uncharted? What do you think? Do you like the campy, weird, disjointed story? Or, are you kind of like with us? We're like, it could flow a little bit better. Let us know down below. Let us know what your thoughts are on Dark Souls. If you played it, love it, hate it, masturbate it, whatever you want. And last but not least, Call of Duty, Battlefield, thoughts. I mean, I know the internet has been pretty much ablaze over this for the past 2 weeks. So I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Where do you lean? Are you excited for Call of Duty? You excited for the the Advanced Warfare
Well,
the Modern Warfare remake?
People are excited for it.
Or are you kind of like, hey, I think I'm gonna skip out on this one? You know, whatever. Are you going with Battlefield? I can't speak. Blah blah blah. You know the drill. Just comment down below. Let us know what your thoughts. We love you. I've been the Grunting Pixel.
See you guys.
This has been Jared. Jared.
Bye. Oh, I already said it. All right, see you guys again.
You gotta say it with the word association.
Well, you
and
paused.
Steph. And Steph.
Bye.
And we'll see you guys
we did
next
terrible.
time.
See ya.
You're all fired.